Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to another video. I am Tish. I hope you guys get something from this video because it is a dream in which God was showing me something and then that dream came to pass. And so I hope you learned something from it. Stay tuned and I'm going to explain the dream. So in this dream, I was running a marathon. It's weird. So I was coming out of my mother's building and it was like a line of people standing in front of the building and they was like preparing for a marathon and they was registering and all that stuff. So someone that I knew, a guy that I knew, he was like, hey, you should run the marathon. Like he just suggested and encouraged me to, and I don't know why. I was like, but I'm not prepared for that. I had on some ripped jeans, I had on some boots, I had on regular street attire. I was not dressed in running gear. And he was like, it's okay, you know, they'll still let you in, they'll still let you do it, like it'll be all right. He was like, look at me, I'm not necessarily wearing the clothing, like you should just try. He was encouraging me, and I'm just like, all right, whatever, like he really feels like I'll be good for it, so let me go ahead and do it. I started to follow the crowd out to where the running would start. It started at the street, so once we got to the street, everyone started to run or jog their separate ways. Some people went to the left, some people went to the right, and I decided to go with the crowd that went to the right. So they jogged into a park that was across the street from my mother's building. And I'm telling you, we're like 3 minutes in. We're jogging, we go up the steps, right? And I start losing my breath. I feel like I'm about to pass out. I feel weak and like I'm about to faint. And so once I start feeling that, I decided to stop. I felt like, oh, I know I'm about to look crazy because we ain't even get anywhere yet. And I already have to stop and turn back around. I stopped, I turned around and I went back to where I came from because I was like, I knew I wasn't ready for this. I don't even know why I wasted my time, right? That was the dream. Maybe like a month or two later, it played out in real life. This happened in real life. Not the exact same way as it happened in a dream, but the message of what God was showing me came to pass. So just keep listening and see if you can make the connection. I had a former co-worker. I ran into him, and I ran into him like a good 2 or 3 times. And he kept saying, like, you should come work with me. Like, and I'm like, you work with junior high school kids. I don't work with kids that old. Like, I've always worked with the younger children. I'm talking about like preschool age. So he was like, no, I think you'll be a good fit. Like, I think you'll be, you know, a part of the team if fitting really well. And I'm just kind of like, no. I know what I can and can't handle. I can't handle no junior high school kids. And he just kept pressing that he really think it would be a good fit. So it started to get in my head, maybe God wants me to challenge myself. Catch that. I'm like, this happened like 2 or 3 times. It must really be meant for me to try this opportunity out. So I was going back and forth with if I should leave my current job to go work with him or not. And I remember not feeling a peace about it. And I was actually very sad to leave my current job. I mean, I started crying and everything on my last day. So the whole time I'm not feeling a peace or comfort about it, but felt like I needed to push myself to do it because it was going to help me grow. I start working with this person, right, in the junior high school. And let me tell you something. I was there for no more than 2 months. And I can't take it. It got to the point where just in the first month, I was dreading going to work. Mind you, it was close to my house at the time. It was literally like 3 or 4 blocks away. So it's like, I'm still technically home. Like, that didn't even make it worth it for me. Like, it was crazy. And so I pretty much ended up quitting. How does that relate to the dream that I had? I'm glad you asked, because I'll explain. Remember in the dream, I said I was coming out of the building and there was a guy there that I knew who just encouraged me to do this marathon out of nowhere. It was just random, and he was really encouraging me and pushing me to do this marathon. The same way I randomly ran into my former co-worker who was just randomly encouraging me to work with him at his site and these older kids. The same reaction that I had in a dream played out. In a dream, I was telling a guy I'm not prepared for no marathon. Never ran a marathon before. I don't even exercise. I'm not in the proper gear. I missed the registry form. Like, I'm not prepared for this, right? That's the same reaction that I had to the former coworker in real life. I was like, I'm not fit for working with junior high school kids. I was like, that's not me. Like, I can't handle that. I'm not prepared for that. Like, I deal with little kids. Like, I'm not ready and positioned and equipped to work with this age group. He kept encouraging me, just like in a dream, the person kept encouraging me, even though I felt like I wasn't fit. And how I responded was, I kind of let the encouragement get to me. In a dream, I was like, okay, well, maybe they see something in me that I don't see in myself. Maybe something good will come out of this. Let me just go ahead and try the marathon. Same reaction that I had in real life with the former coworker. I was like, okay, maybe they really see something in me that I don't see with myself. Maybe taking this risk and putting myself in an uncomfortable situation will make me grow, because I'm not comfortable with this age group. But maybe if I push myself, So what happened? In a dream, I started running this marathon, and then not even 5 minutes into it, I'm worn out. I'm worn out because I didn't train for it. I'm worn out. In real life, in just the first month, I was worn out already. Didn't even want to show up to work. I was dreading going. So it started to affect me quickly that I'm not going to be able to endure. I ended up in a dream. I quit I quit at the very beginning of the marathon. I turned right around and went back home. In real life, that second month I was out. I quit and I went back to my old job because I just couldn't endure, and it was taking a toll. The message here in the revelation is that I feel like I misinterpreted someone else's voice and encouragement as God's direction. I was making it seem like this is God's way of leading me to challenge myself. And it's like, no, it really is just simply someone else encouraging you, and you're putting God's name onto it because you're trying to make it sound good, right? And it proved to be, this isn't God, because if it was God, it would have been fruitful and I would have endured and it would have been long lasting. But it wasn't God, so it didn't go well for me, and it was short lived. And so we have to be careful of what we think is God's voice and really take the time to discern, and don't pass over things that don't feel right. Because remember, I said I didn't have a peace about making this decision, and I was crying to even leave, the job that I already had. So when there's an absence of peace and there's an unsettling, it's usually a sign that is not God. And so it was all me in my head, and it was just the voices of the people that was encouraging me. Here's the thing. People may mean you well, but just because they mean well doesn't mean it is the right decision to make. You have to run everything past God. And I was just kind of rushing this past God. I wasn't taking the time to really sit with him and wait on discernment and on his guidance. So my message to you is, when God shows you something, you pay attention, because he was showing me in a dream that, oh, this is about to happen, and I didn't know it would be in relation to work. Pay attention to what God shows you. Take the time to hear God's confirmation and permission or rejection of certain decisions that you want to make in your life, or certain decisions that he wants you to make, things that he's leading you to do. Get confirmation. Make sure you're interpreting things correctly so that you won't waste time. Nevertheless, it was all a learning experience to understand, wait on God. I hope this encourages you, because I learned from it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.